We are coming to you from Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore, where tonight WGN Sports presents White Sox baseball as Jose Abreu, Todd Frazier, Brett Laurie, and the Sox as they get set to butt heads with Manny Machado, Adam Jones, Chris Davis, and the very tough, powerful Baltimore Orioles. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ken Harrelson with Steve Stone as we get set to bring you Game 3 of this 4-game set. As you may or may not know, they have taken the first 2. In the opener, they hit 3 home runs and won that ball game 10-2. Then last night, it was Nolan Rimo with a 3-run homer and a 3-3 tie. They won that ball game 6-3. So it's pretty obvious the Orioles have 10 more home runs than we do. They have 32.
They've spent every day of this season in first place, and they are doing it like they used to do it. It means power and defense, and the power has been evident in this series. Manny Machado off to a great start this year. This is a grand slam home run. Jake Petrichka got a slider up, and Machado hit it out. And last night, Nolan Rimo with an opposite field 3-run blast. That was a difference in that one. So the long ball in evidence, and the Orioles playing good solid baseball. As you can see in the American League, they lead the parade, but behind the Rockies, Diamondbacks, and Cardinals in Major League Baseball for home runs.
Well, Matt Latos is 4-0 in 4 starts. Opponents hitting just 151 against him, which is almost incredible. And he's got his work cut out for him tonight.
He's been remarkable this year with Yonder Navarro behind the plate for him, but he's thrown everything right where he wants to. Take a look at last time out. He was absolutely brilliant. 3 double plays behind him, this being the 3rd of the 3, and that helped him win the ball game. As he drops a slider down and in, Odor is out. Adrian Beltre can't catch up to one down and away. And so Latos is starting off this year like he wants to win 20 games, and hopefully he'll be able to do it. Last time out, he went 6. Gave up 7 hits, just 1 earned run. He walked 2, fanned 2. Met Latos with 4 straight wins, looking for 5 and hoping to stop this abbreviated 2-game losing streak.
All right, Game 3 of this 4-game series. So sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way. Chicago White Sox baseball is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. By Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda, now at your Honda dealer. Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And by Ford, America's best-selling brand 6 years running, inviting you to check out our fuel-efficient lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. And by your Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers, who invite you to test drive our award-winning lineup today. Visit buyhyundai.com.
Baseball in high definition is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. The Orioles have taken the field, and let's take a look at how Robin is going to line up our Sox for the game tonight. Adam Eaton, an even 300 leading it off. Tyler Saladino in the 2 spot. Then it's Jose Abreu, Todd Frazier, Melky Cabrera, Brett Lawrie, who's been swinging the bat pretty well, along with Jerry Sands, Deanna Navarro, and Austin Jackson in center field, rounding it out. The defense, and how they'll line up behind Kevin Gausman. Kim, Jones, and Trumbo in the outfield, with Machado, Hardy, Scope, and Davis in the infield. Matt Wieters for the 2nd night in a row for the first time this year behind the plate. There you look at Kevin Gausman. He's a hard-throwing right-hander with 2 different types of sliders. One actually simulates a forkball, the other is a circle change. And so we're ready to play baseball. I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. And once again, good evening and welcome to White Sox baseball. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours as Adam Eaton takes first pitch, ball 1. Adam 2 for 6 in the series. Comes in hitting at 300, a homer. He's driven in 5.
Gausman has started against our ball club a couple of years ago and didn't fare very well.
And it counts 3-0.
Carlos Torres behind the plate. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, is at first. Corey Blazer at second, and Sam Holbrook is at third.
And there's 4 in a row. Good way to start it off. So with the leadoff man aboard, let's check out our picks to click tonight. Jim Angio, our director and the crew. That way they went with Downer. Steve's going with Austin Jackson. And our physicians: Charles Bush Joseph, Art Bach, Scott Palmer, Anthony Romo, Tracy Williams, David Orth. Well, we've got a great set of medical people. We're going to go with the man at the plate right now, Tyler Saladino. And here at the ballpark, 333 down the left field line, 318 down the right field line, 373 in right center, 364 in left center, and 410 just to the left of dead away center. Terrific hitter's ballpark. Low line drives get out of here as there's a strike and count 0-2.
Gausman has a hybrid. It's neither a curve nor a slider. Kind of is in between, and usually his outings depend on getting that pitch over. If he doesn't, he's very vulnerable with the fastball. If he does, he's a whole lot better, and he's going to see a fastball away here.
Sox started off a 7-game road trip with 3 up at the Rogers Center in Toronto. Swept the Blue Jays up there. Coming in here, winning 6 in a row. Quick feet by Gausman.
Former #1 draft pick of these Orioles back in 2012. He was the 4th player chosen overall. And Adam off to a pretty good start stealing bases at 3 out of 4.
Yeah, softly hit bounce. Machado makes the recovery. And they get him. Wow. Strong arm of Jonathan Scope.
Machado puts it right there, and Scope straight over the top, guns down Saladino by a half step at first base.
That's the 21st double play that the Orioles have turned this year. So here is Abreu. Jose 4 for 7 in the series. All singles. There's a line drive. Davis makes the catch, so he walks the leadoff man, throws a double play, and after a half inning of play, our guy's nothing, and their guy's coming to bat.
He's going to line up his Orioles. Machado, unfamiliar leadoff spot. Then it's Jones, Davis, and Trumbo with Wieters in the middle. Alvarez, Hardy, Jonathan Scope, and Hyun-Soo Kim, acquired from the Korean League, in the starting lineup. The defense, and now the lineup behind Matt Latos, Melky Cabrera, Austin Jackson, and Adam Eaton in the outfield. Todd Frazier, Tyler Saladino, Brett Lawrie, and Jose Abreu in the infield, with Yanner Navarro behind the plate. He's caught all 5 of Matt's starts. And there's a look at Latos, 4-0, .74 ERA. Opponents hitting a paltry 151. But this, a very good offensive team, the best home team in Major League Baseball. They run their home record to 9-1. Nobody else is even close at home.
Well, there's some offensive teams that obviously can match up with Baltimore, but I don't think anybody outmatches them. These guys can hit. And one of the reasons being is 1 pitch, 1 out, is they're very good mistake hitters. Machado overall is the best hitter on this ball. He can hit pretty good pitches hard, but you get the rest of the guys now. If you make your pitches on Chris Davis, you're going to get him. If you make your pitches on Trumbo, you're going to get him. If you make your pitches on Adam Jones, you're going to get him. So they can be pitched to, but boy, you make a mistake and they're going to get you.
Well, Jones is going to be swinging early in the count. He very rarely walks, hitting in the 2 spot tonight. Machado leading off, a guy with 7 home runs and 16 driven in the 1 spot.
Usually when that happens, they want to get him as many opportunities to go to that play as they can.
As well as he's swinging the bat, you can understand that. He's squaring up just about everything.
Oh, and 2 the count.
Jones has had some leg problems. He's had some rib problems. There you see 62 games against our Sox. Not great. He is a former Gold Glove center fielder, however. In fact, Jones, along with Machado and Wieters, have all won Gold Gloves.
Well, Machado is going to have a whole bunch of those things where he's not.
There is no doubt. He's just outstanding down there.
Good speed aboard.
Not a whole lot of people have waited back on Latos' breaking ball, but that's exactly what Jones did. Took it right back up the middle, and he's aboard.
Well, it wasn't so much a hanger, but a roller.
Latos looks back, and he wants to figure out who's going to cover second base in the case of a comebacker. Saladino at first said it was going to be him, and now he looks at Frazier, and they're going to talk it over, so we'll see. You would think it would be Saladino.
Davis is 3 for 8 with a homer and 2 RBIs in the series. Didn't get it by him. The concept was terrific from Chris Davis.
Execution not awfully good.
No.
He has all kinds of room if he pushes this one and gets it by Latos. He's unable to do it, and he gets him at first. That is a huge bat to see bunting in the first inning.
Well, I agree with it 100%.
Well, he's going to get on if he can just.
All he's got to do is hit
line.
2 or 3, 4 feet more to the line, and this make a throw. And you get trouble in the first inning. So here's Trumbo.
That was a rolling breaking ball up in the zone, and Trumbo, who has been very good, fouled it straight back. 6 home runs, 18 driven in, on base percentage close to 400. He's usually not up that high, but he is a slugger and he is a run producer.
He's got a home run, a long home run in this series, the first game. Just pokes that one out there. So in essence, now that ball is cut off, they're going to go to second base, and they get it. So in essence, that bunt paid off with a little Kansas City special out there, and it's 1-0 Baltimore.
The 15-day disabled list, picked up 1 inning of work, and unfortunately his elbow flared up. The injury report is brought to you by Dr. Anthony Romeo Orthopedics. If you have any shoulder or elbow problems, go to RomeoOrthopedics.com or call 312-432-2342.
Todd Frazier, 228, 6 homers, 15 knocked in.
He was swinging it pretty good in batting practice, so if that means anything, we'll see him probably get some good at bats here. He's hitting .325 over the last 12 games.
He had a 6-game hitting streak snapped last night. He went 0 for 3 with a walk. Thing about Todd, though, is he might have 4 bats, 2 or 3 of them might look horrible, but that other one, he is dangerous.
Gosman got away with a rolling breaking ball that time. That was in the middle of the plate. Todd fouled it straight back.
You're not going to hit every night, but you can be somewhat dangerous every night. Some games you're going to go to that plate and that guy 60 feet 6 inches away is just going to be better than you that evening.
Well, that time he fouled one off. It was a good 6 inches inside off the plate. He was able to get out in front and at least keep the at bat alive.
Out of play. Well, all the years I've been coming to Baltimore, which goes back to 1963.
A lot of years.
It's the first time I can ever recall standing in my room all day. One of the reasons being the phone was ringing. I left it on. And the majority of the calls, Hawk, what's up? These guys lost 2 in a row.
No time to jump ship.
Well, that was one of the reasons. And I started laughing. I said, well, let's just look at this whole scenario here. When I saw the schedule, Bob Graham sent me the schedule that we were going to have this year. I looked at it, and my wife Eris and I were having breakfast, and I said, honey, this might be the worst schedule I've ever seen in my whole career.
Well, the toughest starts to any schedule I've seen.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It might be we start 10 out of the first 13 games are on the road, which we went. Then if you'd have told me we're going to have 1 day off day in April, I said you're crazy. And then if you'd have told me that we're going to play 500 baseball, as there's a ground ball right side, with the schedule we have in April, would you have taken it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. No question about it. And to have a winning record, we're 10-5 on the road this year, and have a winning record against the schedule we had coming home. Now, we got to try to get both these, or at least one of them, to still make it a good road trip. But if you take all things into consideration, this ball club has played their behinds off.
This would be a good one to get tonight, because tomorrow, look, Chris Sale is scheduled. The rain is scheduled to come in.
I was talking with our terrific director of travel, Eddie Castano, and Eddie told me that he had heard that they've changed the forecast somewhat, and there's a good chance that we will get that game in.
That would be terrific. So it stops an off-day play.
Right.
But to contrast what the Sox have been through in April with just 1 off day, the Mets have had 6 off days in April, and the Royals have had 5. That's why what these guys have put up is somewhat astonishing.
Well, obviously I couldn't do all the research on it, but I went back and tried to find out. I remember one year when I was playing with the Red Sox, we had a very, very tough opening schedule, but nothing like this one. As he gets Melky. 2 down.
First strikeout for Gosman.
But I've never been with a club, and this is what, my 57th year in baseball. I've never been with a club that had only 1 off day in April.
And then 19 straight after that 1 off day.
And still have a record of 16-8.
First place by 3 coming in. Detroit won today, so that's cut to 2.5. The Orioles have never been out of first place this year. There have been some days when they've been tied for first place, but they've always had at least a piece. Through the early part of this year under Buck Showalter, his 7th year as the skipper for these Orioles. He's done a really good job.
But the tone of some of those calls from my buddies today were that, like we were in a 10-game losing streak. Which in one way, on one side of the page, is a compliment.
Well, it's nice to get used to winning.
Sure.
And I think this team expects to win. Showalter has got his boys at home playing 900 baseball at 9-1.
Machado. He's good. He's fun to watch. Meanwhile, it's 1-0 Baltimore. It'll be Wieters, Alvarez, and Hardy.
First time all year that Matt Wieters has started back-to-back games. Buck is trying to ease him into being a 5-day-a-week guy.
All right, Steve, this is Leto's 5th start. He had a tough spring. Since that time, he has just really been, 4 starts, magnificent. He certainly did not have his breaking stuff in the first inning.
No, if it doesn't come to him, it's not going to be a good night for him. He rolled a few breaking balls, got away with a couple. Didn't get away with the one to Jones, and eventually, after the bunt by Davis, it cost him the run. There you look at the rankings in the American League. Tied for second with 4. Second in the ERA, .74, and opponent's batting average tied for second at 151. This Oriole team, a different bunch at home, however. They've hit pretty close to or just over 300 at home this year.
Well, there's going to be somebody out there who's going to say, well, they're getting the signs. Foul tip.
Wieters, former #1 draft pick. He didn't get that long-term deal he was looking for, and so signed a 1-year contract. And he's hoping to stay entirely healthy this year and then force the Orioles to pay him or move on.
Well, with the way the catching is, if he moves on, he's going to get a lot of money.
No doubt. I mean, the 1-year contract was for the qualifying offer of $15.6 million. So this year is not hurting him financially.
Good call by Carlos Torres. And a full count. Well, we had a good umpire game last night from Sam Holt. One of the better ones we've had all year. Yanks that one foul.
There's two different styles of hitters. Left-handed mostly a dead pull hitter. Right-handed, he'll use the whole field. As Pedro Alvarez in the on-deck circle, and then with a whole lot of power, who came up as a #1 draft pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, one of the great switch hitters the game has ever seen. The great Mickey Mantle. He told me that if it hadn't been for a promise to his dad, he would have never hit that. That's into center field. Let's count for him.
Come out to U.S. Cellular Field on select Fridays during the 2016 season and get 2 outfield reserve tickets, 2 food or drink items for just $49. Each ticket will include $8 in bonus bucks, more than enough to cover your first soda, beer, hot dog, or sausage. Visit whitesox.com/first for more information or to order yours today.
Pedro Alvarez. He's hit Latos pretty good. 8 for 29 with a couple of home runs.
Although he's had problems during the course of his career defensively, he can swing it. He's got huge power. Of course, at 318 down the right field line with a high wall, you don't need a whole lot of power to get it out of here.
Well, with that bunt by Davis setting up that single by Trumbo, who knocked in Jones. This season around the major leagues, the team that scores first has won 63.5% of the games.
The radical shift didn't work as Alvarez catches it off the end of the bat. This ball is well out of the strike zone. He's going after it anyway. And for him, a rare infield hit.
Well, when you hit 182, you'll take him any way you can get him.
No chance at all. Frazier does a nice job, the best job he could do, but he was swung around at straightaway shortstop.
In our club this year, we've had 10 games where the opponent scored first, and in those 10 games we were 4 and 6.
Well, unfortunately, the last couple of days didn't pan out because the Sox have scored first in the first 2 games of this series and came up short both times.
There's the strike. Just tuning in, we talked about it and touched on it last inning. This is a very potent lineup filled with dangerous hitters. Not all of them are good hitters, but they're dangerous.
Especially dangerous in this ballpark. You talk about the low fence. That coming in left field, but also 364 to the power alleys. That's really nothing. You can flick it out of there, left or right-handed.
That low fence is a blue plate special.
Can induce a ground ball. Hardy does not have particularly good speed at this stage of his career. He's had some back problems which has shelved him a couple of different seasons.
Here you go. 2 down.
First strikeout, and this one just dives out of the zone. That's Hardy well out in front of it.
So here's Jonathan Scope at 213, 3 homers, 10 knocked in.
He's another guy that walks begrudgingly. These are the swinging Scopes. Jonathan has walked 3 times this year in 75 at bats.
Former manager Gene Mock, God rest his soul, for the most part managed some bad ball clubs. He had a couple of good ones, but for the most part had bad ball clubs. And he was almost at 500 in his managerial career, and that was his whole premise. First premise: get on the board first. Get on the board as fast as you can first. That's high, Austin, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the third, trailing 1-0.
It's time for the Subway third inning triple play promotion. Text Subway 3 to 97999 right now, and the 300th texter will receive a $30 gift card to Subway restaurants in the Chicagoland area. Subway, fresh is what we do. Adam Jones was pointing in the dugout to see where they wanted him to set up for Sands.
And that's into a left field softly, just muscles it out there. So the leadoff man aboard.
First hit of the ball game. It's an inside fastball. It's just barely off the plate, but Sands able to get a decent part of the bat on it. Drops it in front of Kim in left field.
Well, this should be a pretty good matchup for Sands because of the fact that Gausman being primarily a fastball pitcher.
Yeah, he really can't get that slurve or whatever he wants to call it. He can't get it over consistently.
Right.
That's what's going to stop him from being as good as they believe he's going to be.
So here is Navarro, the honor. 1 for 5 lifetime off Gausman. Takes first pitch strike. Get by him at will. And that's going to be a base hit. So Sands making the turn. He'll move into third, and runners at the corners, nobody out.
You talked about the fact that Jonathan Schoop has an overwhelmingly powerful arm, but not a whole lot of range. This one isn't hit that hard, and it scoots by Scope. He can't get to it. Runners at the corners, nobody out.
And here's Austin looking for his first hit of the series. He's 0 for 7.
Wieters went through his set of signs, but where he's going to go with the ball if Navarro tries to steal. However, I think if he does try to steal, there probably is going to be an investigation.
And look at the proximity of Austin's back foot. Close to the line, close to the plate. And it's the back foot that determines how close you are to the plate.
Well, he's had some problems in this series. The Orioles keep pounding him inside.
Well,
3 strikeouts last night, all swinging and all inside.
Yeah, but yet he had some pretty good pitches to hit and fouled them off.
He did.
He made some good passes at it, just couldn't square it up. This breaking ball strike. Well, the point I was making though is that here might be a situation you got plenty of big hole over there on the right side. Trailing 1-0, you lost 2 in a row. Maybe back off that plate with that right foot a little bit, so you can makes it a little easier for you to go to the opposite field.
Well, I certainly would love to see hitters adjust from at bat to at bat. We just don't see it. They're standing the same place.
Don't even go there.
I mean, that's what they do. They get comfortable in one spot, and it doesn't matter who's on the mound or how big the fastball is or how good the curveball is. Most all the hitters stay in one spot.
Don't even go. That is, as you know,
yep,
one of my biggest pet peeves right there. They call it situation hitting.
That was pretty much a show-me pitch. Good location for 0-2, but it was out of the zone. Now we'll see what Wieters wants to come back with. There's 2 breaking balls and then that fastball off the plate, and that's where the third pitch came in, the Xfinity pitch tracks.
When that back foot is close to the plate, you're going to see the ball probably at least a foot short of where you'd like to see it. With that foot getting back off the plate, you'll see the ball another 6 inches further.
Well, he's testing the back line of the batter's box. Good job of staying alive there. That was a perfect breaking ball away. Watch it again. It's exactly where he wants to throw it, and Austin was able to, with good plate coverage, go out and spoil it.
Well, he's had 2 or 3 good pitches to hit to that right side.
There's another breakie.
One out.
That was actually the one change that he shows, almost a forkball change. So you see the bottom drop out of it. When you throw 97 and you use that pitch, rare that a pitcher has 2 different kinds of changeups, but Gausman has that.
Yeah, the closer you are to the plate, the quicker you're going to come off the pitch. So here is Adam. He walked on 4 pitches leading off the ball game. Good concept. No execution. Sox come in hitting at .238 as a club. With 22 home runs. Orioles hitting at .268 with 32 home runs. And the count 0-2.
This series the third facing real good hitting ball clubs. Texas first, that was a sweep. Toronto second, that was a sweep. Now here to Baltimore. All three of those teams have some pretty good power in their lineups.
And the Sox coming in with a terrific 2.62 team ERA.
It's been remarkable in the early going. The bullpen has been as outstanding as the starting rotation.
Well, the biggest thing has been the defense, except for the opening game.
Well, last night was a rarity.
And last night, right. But the defense has been terrific. And the pitching's been terrific. With the schedule we've had for April, and to come in with a 16-8 record.
This is a big at bat for Adam. Some contact here. Tie up the ball game, assuming that it's not going to be into a double play. There's a splitter change again, and Adam did a good job of fouling it off to stay alive.
There he goes. And that pitch is foul. And he throws it away. Yes. So Adam in the second. And now that ball gets away, but Hardy is right where he should be. This game is tied at 1 on the first error of the season by Manny Machado.
Well, that's an easy 2. And Machado opens the door for a big inning. It's right at him. It's going to be a double play, but this ball drifts away from Scope. And heads up base running by Adam Eaton. He goes into second base easily. That throw, Scope can't control it. Though some generosity on the part of a defense that usually is not too generous.
First error by Machado. J.J. Hardy, the shortstop, has none. Scope at second has none.
Well, last year, this was the best defensive team in the American League. The fewest errors with just 77 all year.
Tyler trying to move it to the right side. Got a break there.
Well, that ball had the whole plate at 98 miles an hour. Carlos Torres thought it wasn't there.
So big difference. 1-1. Just jabbed at that one.
Now there is one sacrifice fly, no sacrifice bunts. And he was trying to push that one. Not a base hit, certainly.
That's why he jabbed at it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be caught. Dumped it now. So another gift run, and it's 2-1 Sox.
We saw this last night from our ball club. We're seeing it tonight from the Orioles. Gausman should be out of this inning. Instead, they've surrendered the lead. 2 errors in a row
by 2 guys that were errorless coming in for the whole month. Don't stop now, boys. Well, when you put it in play, funny things can happen.
Well, the trifecta is sitting out there at shortstop. Hardy doesn't have an error either.
That could be a first right there if it happened.
3 guys making their first error at the end of April.
On April 30th. You're 1 inning.
Jose hit it awfully hard the first time up, only to line it right at Davis at first base.
Two on, 1 out. 2 in. Back him up, but he had a couple of gift runs. We'll take them, and we lead it 2-1. Robin Ventura. You can log on to WGNTV.com and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner for the latest stats and information. Now, the Sox Game Zone was powered by Dodd Camera. Dodd Camera, family owned for 125 years, handling all your photographic needs. Dodd Camera, where the focus is on you.
From a psychological standpoint, this becomes a big inning for Matt Latos. Number one, he starts it with the 9-hitter Kim, but also your team is giving you a 2-1 lead. It's pretty good if you can shut the door and take that lead back into the dugout when the offense comes back out with the middle of the order in the top of the fourth.
So here's Kim. He's 1 for 1 in this series, hitting the first game. And on the season, he's 6 for 11. He's 28 years old, 6'2", 210 pounds. And in 9 years playing in Korea was a .318 hitter with 142 home runs.
He had big trouble with the inside fastball in spring training. I mean, guys were jamming him. He did not have a good spring. He pretty much lost the starting job to Rickard, the Rule 5 player we've seen in this series. But he was a prolific run producer in Korea.
The ball's hit hard. Down into the corner. So he's going to start it off at second base.
Jose mad at himself. He thought he should have had that. It was a one-hop rocket. Ticked off the glove and went into the corner.
He could have had it, but it's a base hit.
Yeah,
it's got to be a base hit.
It's a rocket. He tries to throw a fastball by him inside, but can't get it there. So not a good way to start the third.
So here's Machado. He's got a job to do. He grounded out to Brett Laurie. Nice play by Saladino. But everybody's safe. That'll be a infield single.
In the hole, good stop. No play anywhere as Kim able to get back easily to second base. That was another rolling breaking ball up in the zone, and so Latos in some trouble here in the third.
Well, that pitch dictated the way that at bat was from Machado. If you're thinking, well, he didn't even try to go to right field. When you get a rolling breaking ball, you're not going to try.
He was thinking of hitting it out.
That's exactly right.
He just got over the top of it.
Here's Jones. He got a rolling breaking ball and just hammered it into center field and scored. Takes first pitch, strike.
But with strike one, it's a pretty good idea to go to first base, and maybe he'll catch Machado trying to get a good secondary lead. Now Jose is behind him, and Navarro loves to throw behind a runner at first with a man at second.
Wayne Kirby, the first base coach.
He's got one job, and that's to tell him if Abreu is going to go behind him.
He's telling him two things. Don't get doubled up on the line drive, and don't get picked off. And I'll help you.
A high fastball away and a quick throw might get the job done. Good job of stopping that as that one flattened out, almost got by, and taking the double play out of the equation.
That's got a piece of it. You know, you've heard me say many times in the past, first base coach, they check your outfielders when you get doubled up on the line drive. But checking your outfielders ought to be automatic with a runner, but if you got a man in first going in front of you, it's not quite as important because you got to watch him.
You've always said you felt the first base coach was more important than the third base coach.
You will lose more games with poor coaching at first than you will at third in baseball. Go to the bag. Now get that man at second base.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Close.
A slow developing play. It would have been 5-4-3 triple play. There was one turned, I believe, either yesterday or the day before, 5-4-3. But a couple of steps. That's all it took, and no chance at all for Brett to get the throw off. And now I think Robin wants to talk to Corey Blazer about the fact that
it was close.
Right. Machado at second base, he actually, after his slide, rolled to touch the bag. Now watch it again. He slides before the bag. That part is okay, but then he grabs him with his hand. And they've already this year called it one time where you grab a leg of the guy trying to make the pivot with his hand, and they've called the guy out at first base. So this should be a really interesting call. Robin has got a pretty good complaint here.
Well, he's got grounds for a review. There's no question about that.
From whatever angle, Machado slides late, but look at his left hand. His left hand on the leg of Lowry. He's lucky he didn't break his ankle on that late slide at second base.
Well, because you're going to have to hit the ground before you get there, it's going to cause some injuries. I mean, it just seems like every time they try to change the rule for the good, it's going to cause more injuries.
Well, if they do indeed call him out, you're going to see Showalter pop out of that dugout. And he's going to be incensed, but it looked to me like it would be the right call.
Well, any time that you have rule changes like we're having this year and last year, with the busted Posey rule and all that stuff, it just puts more heat on the umpires.
Well, they might say that Lowry was not prepared to throw to first base, but
they're going to review it.
Well, I mean, if the rule says you can't touch the leg of the guy throwing the ball, the pivot man at second, then it's a triple play.
Jerry Davis told Robin he was coming out just to stay where you're at. He's going to talk to Showalter. Let's watch Buck's expressions. He's got some good ones.
One of the things that Matt has to do is Matt has to continue to throw the baseball. Last thing you want him to do in a protracted argument is tighten up on the mound.
Well, this is by far the warmest night we've had here.
There's no comparison to the other two.
No.
They're going to take a look at it. And they're going to talk to New York, but
well, as I said, it's close. I mean,
it's not debatable that he didn't grab him. He grabbed him.
There's no question. Yeah. That's irrefutable right there. Here it is. Watch him grab the leg. If you're just tuning in, we lead it 2-1. We were given 2 gift runs after they scored in the first inning. Sands let it off with a single by Navarro. And then an error by Manny Machado was first of the year, allowed 1 to score, and then an error
by Jonathan Scope at second base, his first of the year. Another one scored. So 2 gifts and we'll take it. In the first 2 games, we've given them enough gift runs. And while we're still waiting for the verdict from New York, the finale here tomorrow afternoon. Chris Sale against Ubaldo Jimenez, and that game will be over Comcast Sportsnet.
Latos wants to talk with Carlos Torres.
And that will be a 12:35 Central start tomorrow.
Pretty interesting review. You don't see a whole lot of these
interpretation,
but they have and they have this year held up the out at first base when the pivot man was grabbed by the guy who slid in.
They want a consensus from New York, and that is a crew of umpires who rotate and make these decisions back in New York.
This one taking a long time to figure out, as you would expect.
Well, somebody grabbing your leg can definitely break the rhythm.
They're calling it safe. Robin wants to know, wait a second. How can he be safe if you implemented the rule where if you grab the pivot man, he's out?
Well, they can't say, well, he couldn't have got him at first. That's out of the equation there. So Robin wants to know why. Certainly rather have Chris Davis leading off an inning rather than coming up with a man on first and 2 out in a 1-run ball game. I don't blame Robert. If that's what they say the rule is, you can't grab the guy, and he grabbed him. I mean, that's BS. I mean, that's all it is. It's pure out and out BS.
Well, that's pretty much what Robin was telling Jerry Davis before he got the heave-ho.
Evidently, they told him something in New York that only Jerry has to relay to Robin. That's all he could do. Grab his leg. That's pure and simple. I mean, doesn't take a Rhodes Scholar to figure out.
No, and as he grabs him, now he has to take that same arm that grabbed him and go back to the bag when he couldn't have grabbed it as he slid by late anyway. But a double play certainly helps take the pressure of this inning off, but you're not out of the woods because of Chris Davis.
Well, I'll tell you what, those guys in New York can have bad nights too. So here's Davis. He tried to bunt. Adam will stop at second as Adam gets it back in.
That's where Davis really loves to hit it. Out away. Just about belt high, maybe a touch lower. And he hits it right through the shift.
So here's Trumbo. He had a little Texas Leaguer, a little Kansas City special single into right field to knock in Adam Jones back in the first inning. In essence, that attempted bunt by Chris Davis resulted in a run.
2 on, 2 out.
One of the reasons they got Mark Trumbo was because they didn't know if Chris Davis was going to re-sign here. They tried to re-sign him early. He didn't sign. Then eventually giving him a big contract Trumbo was their insurance policy in case Davis left. So with Davis now signing, it gives them a whole lot more power in the middle of his order.
Okay, boys. Play pitches out of it. Well, that's one thing you can't blame Jerry Davis for. The place blame there has got to be in New York. Detail of the tape. 2-0 for us, 1-6 and a huge 2 for them. Those huge 2 errors resulted in our 2 runs. If you're just joining us, and here's Frazier, Cabrera on deck, Brett Laurie in hold. Good play. 1 out.
Sox fans, join us on Saturday, May 21st at 1:10 as the Sox take on the Royals. All fans 21 and over will receive a 25th ballpark anniversary canvas presented by Miller Lite, the official light Pilsner and official beer of the Chicago White Sox. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Here's Cabrera, struck out his first trip. One pitch. Two down. Checking some other scores for you. Tigers beat the Twins today 4-1. Zimmerman over Duffy.
Zimmerman 5-0.
Toronto and Tampa Bay tied at 3, bottom of the 7th inning. That's down in St. Pete. Braves, that Wrigley postponed with that ball hit deep into left field. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Number 3 for Brett. And it's a 3-1 ball game.
For the second time in as many nights, Laurie takes it out. He's now driven in 9. And then a no-doubter. All Kim did in left field was look up. That was fastball he tried to get inside. Couldn't quite get there.
And of course, with that home run, Alex Nelius with another generous donation to White Sox charities in loving memory of Ursula.
First home run Gosman's given up.
Here's Sands. He singled and scored last inning. Well, that seems like a long time.
A lot of water under the bridge. In fact, yesterday it was the Brewers that went 5-4-3 for their triple play. Almost saw another one here tonight, 5-4. Well, no 3, but close.
And Jared, it's 2 for 2.
He kept the inning alive. Brett Laurie very happy hitting in this ballpark.
Good time. I tell you, Brett is fun to watch.
He's intense.
Since he first came into this league, I have just absolutely loved to watch that man play. Toronto, Oakland. Downer had a little soft single in the hole between first and second. Chase is 2 out of the zone and count 0-2.
For those of you who saw the ball game last night, the game ended with Avisail Garcia running down the first base line and pulling up, likely experiencing either a cramp or a tweak of the hamstring. He's probably not going to play again until Tuesday.
One-two pitch.
Orioles went to the bullpen last night for 3 innings. And that's their winning combination of Brock, O'Day, and Britton. Those are the guys consistently they'll be asked to nail it down, because the Orioles have a very good pen.
Two and two.
And the pitches are starting to pile up on the young right-hander. This will be pitch number 65 to Navarro. Got the ball over the plate for the most part. 2 unearned runs, 1 earned one.
And that's going to be a souvenir. First and third. Good check. Full count.
Good at bat so far as Deanna has battled the 8th pitch of the at bat coming up. Austin Jackson, in case he can keep it alive.
Checking some other action. Mets beat the Giants 6-5. DeGrom over Kane. Mets 15-7. Oakland shuts out Houston 2-0. Houston now 7-17. Nasty Nats beat the Cardinals 6-1 in St. Louis. Nats are 16-7. That's a soft fly ball. Adam Jones makes the catch. That'll retire the side with the home run by Brett Laurie. And we lead at 3-1. White Sox checking and an official White Sox debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. So go to www.wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Member FDIC.
Yeah, Latos has been walking the tightrope. He's given up 6 hits, but only 1 run so far.
He's got Wieters, Alvarez, and Hardy. And that is a foul ball. Souvenir left side. There's a shank. Foul. Gap out there in right center. Yes, he did. 1 out.
Nice stop by Navarro as that breaking ball in the dirt. Wieters couldn't check his swing. Yanner went down. The ball didn't get by him. And an easy throw after that.
So here's Alvarez. Pedro cued one off the end of the bat, softly to left side, and got himself an infield single.
One of the reasons his start has been so remarkable for Matt Latos. It was a tough year for him last year. 3 different teams: Miami, the Dodgers, and the Angels. Where he's a combined 4 and 10.
That ball hit hard into left center field, and it's out of here. It's a 3-2 ball game. That is the first home run for Alvarez. He has hit Latos hard, as I mentioned. He is now 10 for 31 with 3 homers.
This ball is out away. It's another breaking ball that doesn't do much. Matt does not have particularly good stuff tonight. So he's going to have to make some excellent pitches to a potent lineup.
Here's Hardy. First pitch strike. He struck out his first trip. Oh, what a great partner here.
Well, it doesn't matter left or right field. Right field, you have the high scoreboard. Left field, you got the low wall. That high scoreboard is really short.
Two down.
Sox fans, vote now for your favorite moments and milestones from the first 25 years of U.S. Cellular Field. Head-to-head matchups run through May 19th, and the defining moment will be revealed during the homestand weekend, the homecoming weekend, presented by the Village of Bedford Park, May 20th through the 22nd. Visit whitesox.com/USCF25 to vote today.
Scope went out to Austin Jackson.
Pretty good pitch. Matt wanted that one, did not get it.
And this game is tied at 3.
Fourth home run of the year. Scope has now driven in 11. And there is power up and down this lineup.
As I said earlier, you might tie these guys offensively. It's hard to outdo them. You make a mistake on them, they're going to get you. We've seen some mistakes made tonight, and they got us.
Yeah, unfortunately for Matt, he just doesn't have real good stuff, so he's going to try to stay ahead of hitters. Pitching from behind to these guys, not a good recipe.
Kim just ripped a double off the glove of Abreu his first trip. Three, 4, and 0 for us. 3, 8, and a big 2 for them. 2 for 2. In Baltimore uniform. He's 8 for 13. And here comes Coop.
Everybody on the infield at the mound, and not much you can do when the stuff isn't there. And tonight it's just not. Another rolling breaking ball. Kim can hit off-speed pitches. He's had big problems getting around on fastballs inside. In fact, they wanted to send him down to get some at-bats in the minor leagues, but he felt, after starring in Korea, that it was, for him, something that he wouldn't entertain. So he's had to go through limited playing time in the major leagues.
Well, you've had some Japanese hitters that were really good fastball hitters. We've seen Hideki Matsui was really a good fastball hitter. He had Ichiro, obviously, was good.
Good everything hitter.
But most of your Korean hitters have been better off-speed hitters.
Kim certainly falls into that category.
So Kim will stop at second. That is the 4th hit of the inning.
10 hits to 3 2/3. As Machado takes that ball away and drives it to the right side.
Well, we talked about it up front. If you make good pitches on these guys, Machado's the best hitter on the team. He can hit good pitches hard. If you make mistakes on them, they're going to get you. So here is Adam Jones. He's 1 for 2. He got a mistake, hammered it into center field, and scored in the first inning. Then in the third, last inning, he hit a rocket. 2 men on, nobody out, down to Frazier. Started what could have been a 5-4-3 triple play. And New York did not allow it after Machado went in and grabbed Brett Laurie's leg.
Zach Putnam loosening in the pen. It's been a fairly rested pen. Tommy Kahnle last night picked up the only inning for the pen. Petrichka, Jennings, and Webb went on the disabled list, so not a whole lot of bullpen work in the first 2.5 games.
Carlos Rodon, if you missed that game last evening, pitched well. He was the victim of some very bad defense. One and 2 the count with 2 on and 2 out, and 2 in. Got it. And now they're going to possibly review this or appeal it. Wayne Kirby, first base coach, immediately pointed to the bag. So we'll take another peek at it. Anyway, it was a heck of an effort. Now they're going to allow it. He's gone, and 2 home runs. We're tied at 3.
By the Fifth Third Bank, the Curious Bank. Tied at 3 after 2 home runs. In the bottom of the 4th, so it'll be Jackson, then back to the top of the order with Adam Eaton and Tyler Saladino.
Orioles now have 34 home runs. 4 years in a row they've hit over 200 home runs. That's not going to end this year.
No, not this ball.
Nope. But tonight, Sox lineup is going to have to just outslug the Orioles.
Austin 0 for 1. Takes it right there. You know, we were talking about the back foot last time we played, determining how close you are to the dish. Over the last 50+ years, I've had the opportunity to play against and talk to a lot of the greatest hitters that ever played this game. And talking with them, I've asked almost every one of them a stock question, and that being, when you're going bad, what's the first thing you try to do? In the majority, the vast majority, say you back off the plate a little bit so you can see the ball a little further. That's the vast majority. Now, the highest second response is there's a one hopper and one out. This highest second response was just go back to the basics. If you're a right-handed hitter, taking batting practice, it's some line drives over second base, over the pitcher's head, over second base, over the pitcher's head. Just try to get that front shoulder staying in there. But the vast majority said you back off the plate so you can see the ball a little bit longer, because the longer you see it, the better chance you have of hitting it.
Well, also, you've always talked about creating your own strike zone, and if you back off the plate, the pitcher is going to try to throw the ball away from you. So if you're looking out there, it's going to be out there more times than not.
That's what I have come up with in my career is you can create your own strike zone. That's popped up into left center field. Watch out. Adams there. 2 down. But you can absolutely create your own strike zone according to how you're swinging the bat. If you feel real good and real strong, then you can move up closer to the plate. When you're going to play close to 200 games, counting spring training, of course, guys don't play that much anymore, but you're going to get tired, especially in August and September. And a lot of times you go with that plate, that bat feels like it's a lead weight in your hand. As Tyler fouls it away, he's 0 for 2. Creating your own strike zone is never talked about. Breaking ball strike.
After an inside fastball to Tyler, that's one of the better breaking balls he's thrown on the outside corner.
Even though it was up, that was probably the best one he's thrown. Gasses him up with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
He's got triple digits in that arm.
We're halfway home, tied at 3.
Oriole half of the fifth. Here's Chris Davis. Game tied at 3. That ball hit deep in the center field, but we got a man there. One out. Here's Trumbo. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI. Gap out there in left center. Trumbo, that little soft single in the right field, knocked in. Adam Jones back in the first inning. And he takes first pitch at the bottom of the zone for a strike.
Sox bullpen still working. Latos on a pretty short string, you would imagine. As Zach continues to throw, and you were talking about creating your own strike zone.
Yeah. You know, in your time zone and mine, I was a little before yours, so the terminology, the vernacular, so to speak, of baseball has changed a lot since those days. And back in those days, it was very common for pitchers to set up hitters by not showing them the best stuff until they could get the situation where the hitter could hurt them. And vice versa, it was very common for hitters to try to set up pitchers. It's never talked about. Never. There's only one guy that I can name you for sure right now that sets up pitchers, and that's Miguel Cabrera. And the other guy preceding him was Manny Ramirez. And the way that you can set up pitchers is, for an example, you and I touched us on this last year a couple of times. You being a breaking ball hitter, me being a fastball hitter. If I come to the plate with nobody on first couple of times up, and I'm standing right on top of that plate, it's going to make you have to tighten up that breaking ball. Now, let's say I'm 0 for 2, pop up, ground out, strike out, whatever it may be. Now, let's say I got a man on third in the 6th or 7th inning in a close ball game, and I come to the plate against you. And instead of being right on top of that plate, I'm off that plate.
Well, you're off the plate looking for a curveball.
Exactly.
You're going to.
Because it's going to make you think now. Because the first 2 times up, I'm standing right there. You're saying, what the heck are you doing to yourself? What's the guy doing? When I come up there the 3rd time, where I can maybe do some damage against you, and I'm now a foot further off the plate, it makes you think. So, in essence, that's how you can create your own strike zone to a degree and set pitchers up.
White Sox fans, celebrate your Mexican heritage at the ballpark on May 5th with Cinco de Miller, presented by Miller Lite. White Sox are offering specially priced tickets to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. First 10,000 fans at the ball game will receive a T-shirt presented by the aforementioned Miller Lite. Purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/Cinco.
So the first walk issued by Latos, and here is Alvarez, who had a little soft infield single and then hit a home run in the opposite field. Gap out there, big gap out there in right center. Big motion. And had him way out in front.
That was one of the better hooks Matt's thrown tonight.
hit hard. That's over the head. So here comes the walk, and it's 4-3 Baltimore.
Alvarez a triple shy of the cycle. And that one, another rolling breaking ball up and away. Don Cooper wants to know if Zach Putnam is ready, and you would think he is. Alvarez crushes this ball. Just a rolling breaking ball up in his eyes. Matt just doesn't have good stuff tonight, and there's not much you can do about it. Good try by Jackson, but that ball was hit a long way.
Well, he is now 11-32 against Latos. Well, that's the reason he's won.
Yeah, Buck looked at those numbers, realized that he had hit a couple of home runs off him, and dusted them off and said, okay, you're my DH.
That's going to hang up for him. Makes the catch, but the line shot double knocks in the 2-out walk. Matt Wieters, and they lead it 4-3. Of the 6th inning, it'll be Abreu, Frazier, and Cabrera. Jose is lined hard to first and then hit into a 1-4-3 double play. Baltimore's turned 2 tonight. First pitch strike.
Machado came over, said something to Gausman before the first pitch. Probably wanting to know if he's going to throw some soft stuff to Abreu. The answer is yes. Join us at U.S. Cellular Field as the White Sox face the Minnesota Twins on Saturday, May 7th. First 20,000 fans will receive a Chris Sale K-Counter bobblehead presented by Wintrust Community Banks. Visit whitesox.com to purchase your tickets today.
Well, the corners, whether it be first and third or right field and left field, it really behooves them to know when the guy's going to throw some off-speed pitches.
Because Jose has been hitting fastballs to the opposite field in this series. It makes sense. The breaking ball would be hit right down at Machado. very well be for Machado that back might be tightening up somewhat because he's going through a whole set of stretching routines in the field.
Grounded to second and grounded to third. Machado made a good play on it. Ball was hit hard. Jammed him. Davis. Milwaukee has struck out and popped up to Davis.
There, look at the numbers so far. Only 1 walk. That's been good. 4 hits and 5 2/3. And last year, they used Gosman some out of the bullpen. He's not really suited for a pensman. He's a starting pitcher, and they view him as a top of the rotation guy. Maybe not now, but certainly in the not too distant future. He's got a great arm.
Well, Showalter knows what he's doing. He knows he's got to have this guy.
Yeah. Well, the bullpen is one of the best. So knowing you got a good defense, knowing you hit the ball out of the park with one of the better bullpens around, it comes down to how solid your starting pitching is going to be. Now, if the answer is it's going to be pretty good, Buck is in line for a big year. Starting pitching last year was not good. That's one of the reasons why they played .500 baseball. But this year, if the stars align right, the Orioles are going to be there all year long, battling most likely Boston for the top spot.
And that being said, the best bullpen in the major leagues this year. We got White Sox uniforms.
Yeah, they've been wonderful.
Bobby Thigpen's done a wonderful job. Wonderful job getting those guys ready to come into the ball game. And for a guy who was not afraid to come in when he didn't have his good stuff, Bobby knows what he's talking about. Bobby had his, when Thigpen had his good stuff, you could just wrap it up and send it to Cooperstown. But when he had been out there a lot, he was tired, came in, didn't have that good stuff, boy, he put you right on the edge of your seat. Meanwhile, he'd still get him out.
The first 2 games, Sox didn't need a closer, and that's good because David Robertson on the bereavement leave.
Got in on him. 97. That didn't take long. 1, 2, 3. That is 7 in a row retired.
ball game. He's going to take over the bottom of the 6th inning. Zach on for the 8th time. He's 1-0. His ERA 3.12. He's been throwing it pretty well. There you look at the numbers. Matt Latos, a tough night tonight. 5 innings, 4 runs on 11 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. He departs with the Sox trailing by a run, and Zach Putnam trying to hold it right there and let the offense come back. Bullpen up and going for Baltimore. Looks very much like it's Michael Givens. We saw him in the opening ball game, and he was pretty tough. Converted shortstop, side-wheeling right-hander.
Scope takes a strike. He's 1 for 2 with a high towering home run in the 4th inning.
Good splitter. He gets Scope to swing over the top of it. That's a pitch lately that has been working very well for Zach.
Saladino's got him. It's a hang wolf for Scope.
Fans experience Levy Restaurant's fine dining and service while enjoying a breathtaking view of U.S. Cellular Field from the First Merit Bank Stadium Club. Memberships are available to season ticket holders and open before, during, and after every home game. First Merit Bank Stadium Club is also perfect for non-game day events, including weddings and corporate parties. For more information regarding the First Merit Bank Stadium Club, call 312-674-1000.
Kim has a double, a hard double, and a sharp single in the left field.
And they can't take it anymore.
Sox with just 1 day off in April. We'll have Monday off if we can get that game in tomorrow. Let's look at this. He's 3 for 3. He's now 9 for 14.
The two guys who haven't played in this series, Alvarez and Kim, 6 for 6. He just reaches out, gets that splitter, and takes it into left center.
That's a Suzuki, Ichiro Suzuki swing right there.
Hasn't really had to hit a fastball tonight, so he's enjoyed driving the ball to left and left center field.
Here's Machado, takes it up, the strike. But in all of baseball, there was only one other team in the month of April that didn't have one left.
It was a dome team, the Diamondbacks.
That's it.
But the Mets with 6 and Kansas City with 5 off days in April.
One and 2 the count to Machado, 23-year-old. Third baseman.
So
extraordinaire.
Dan Jennings throwing in the pen for the Sox. Going to be a wild pitch as that one dipped in the dirt. Second wild pitch of the year for Putnam. Now they have to go through a new set of signs with Kim standing on second base. That ball took a very abrupt left turn on Navarro, and he couldn't control it.
Out in front.
Loaded out Dan Jennings, and there he is.
Once again, a reminder, tomorrow, 12:30 start, Chicago time. Chris Sale against Ubaldo Jimenez. That game will be over Comcast Sports Net. Adam, he's there. Falls down, but makes the play. 2 out.
High humidity here, and the grass a little wet as he has his feet go out from under him. Fortunately, Kim was not tagging up, so he stays at second base.
Boy, at old Memorial Stadium, the old ballpark. You come in here sometimes, it'd be a beautiful day. And you play the game that night in right field, that grass, slippery as it could be.
Just terribly high humidity all the time.
Yeah.
Even last night, when it was very cold, it's 90% humidity.
So here's Jones. He's 1 for 3. A single, hard single, and a run scored.
Trying to defend against that splitter, and he took a fastball, perfect fastball in the outside corner. You're not going to walk this guy because he doesn't let you get there. He swings at just about everything.
That's trouble. Throw to second base. Safe. Great throw by Adam Eaton. Meanwhile,
he got an 0-2 fastball up and outside, driving in his 7th run of the year on his 2nd hit of the night. And Don Cooper wants to find out if Jennings is ready to face Davis.
So it's a 5-3 Baltimore lead.
A little higher than he would have liked on an 0-2 pitch. Rifles it against the wall. Eaton does a nice job of getting the carom and making it very close at second base.
Well, you got a low ball pitcher and a low ball hitter. They can go ahead and put him on. Orioles 5 runs on 13 hits. We have 3 runs on 4 hits. And if you're just joining us, our 2 runs in the 3rd inning were gifts. One, first error of the season by Manny Machado. Watch out. Nobody was watching. Yonner threw the ball right in between Adam Jones and Saladino.
Yonner trying to catch Adam Jones napping.
Caught Tyler.
And he caught Tyler Saladino napping. Jones was talking to Saladino. I think Yonner's going to be charged with an error that he doesn't deserve. It is E2.
So that's the second error of the season. And here's Trumbo. He's 1 for 3 with a Kansas City special single, and knocking a run back in the first inning. With a switch hitting Matt Wieters on deck.
Wieters, who is a better hitter from the left side. He has 3/4 of his runs driven in as a left-hand hitter.
Chops that one over the head of Adam Jones. About the 2 runs, gift runs we got in third. Error by Machado and then an error by Jonathan Scope. Allowed those 2 runs to score. He got for him, a cookie right there and missed it.
Yeah, that was a fastball. Actually, off-speed pitch up. Take a look at the location. Looked like he tried to throw a splitter. It didn't split. Fortunately, he got under it.
So 2 out runners at the corners, and the count 2-2. Got him, but they pick up another one and they lead it 5-3. Blog at WGNTV.com, sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent serving the area for over 38 years. So to join the nation, visit JeffVuk.com. Nationwide is on your side.
A new pitcher coming into the ball game, and we've seen Michael Gibbons, and he's pretty tough. There's a look at Gibbons, side-wheeling right-hander, 2-0 this year, ERA .238. He's on for the 12th time. And we saw him for an inning and a third in the opener of the series. Give up a couple of hits, but no runs. Fanning 2, walking 1. Brett Lawrie to lead it off.
Brett is 1 for 2, a homer, his third and second in this series. He won last night.
That home run at the time made it a 3-1 game.
Now field straight up. Spread about equidistant. First pitch strike.
Our fourth drive of the game was the home run. Got one on the inner portion, took it way back. Gosman departs, going 6, giving up 3 runs, 1 earned on 4 hits. He came into the ball game that opening night. First man he faced was Abreu, and he walked him.
Break there. 3-1. Good pitch to hit right there. Just couldn't do anything with it. And we'll take it. There's the leadoff walk. All right, guys, come on. Let's get this guy.
Join the 2016 Sox Pride Club for exclusive ticket offers and seating locations all season long. Use game day opportunities, club auctions, ballpark tours, membership gifts, and more. Visit SoxPrideClub.com to join today.
Here stands. He's 2 for 2 with a run scored. And the count 0-1. Goes, and he's safe.
Good throw by Wieters, but he stole that one on Givens, who didn't pay any attention to him. He just took off. Slow delivery to the plate. And the throw was on the money, but Scope gets hit on the wrist by it. Now they're going to change the set of signs with Laurie at second base.
0-2 the count.
It was stolen base number 2, evening his season, 2 out of 4.
Approach to that pitch by Sands. One down. So here is DeHonor. He's 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. A little soft ground ball between first and second that Scope couldn't get there.
Left-handers should have a good shot at Givens because he is a side-wheeling right-hander. You get a chance to see the ball a lot better than the right-handers do.
Well, we talked about O'Day last night. O'Day has been just terrific, but right-handers don't mind facing O'Day. They'd much rather face O'Day than Givens. O'Day gets you out more.
Givens looks a whole lot faster than at 91 or 92.
He sure does.
Aaron O'Day has been sensational out of their bullpen
for a while.
Yep.
Yanks that one just fouled by a couple of feet.
O'Day in his years with Baltimore, and he got here in 2012. 7-1, 5-3, 5-2, 6-2 in that Oriole uniform. So whatever it is, whatever magic he was able to find, the Orioles made a great waiver claim. He sinks this one low and away off the plate. Yana goes out. Couldn't get it out there.
Had him way out in front. So here is Austin, a strikeout and a ground out.
Ryan Mattis, former #1 draft pick. But he couldn't get it done as a starter, but he has found a home in the bullpen.
Oh, 0-2 the count to Austin. That's down the right field line. Long way to go. He can't get there, and it's foul.
Unfortunately, drifting and slicing just foul away from Trumbo. See it about 2 or 3 feet foul. Trumbo taken out of the designated hitter role because Pedro Alvarez in the lineup, and that certainly has paid dividends for Buck Showalter. Single, double, and a home run for Alvarez tonight.
It did not go.
Best around is Adam Jones, who just had a look at in center. Rain is starting to fall here in Baltimore.
Yeah, they said it could get some rain late tonight, and maybe through the evening and early in the morning, and it should be out of here. And then a possibility of getting more rain late in the afternoon tomorrow. Just got a piece of it.
Able to stay alive.
The alternative, of course, is if we do get rained out tomorrow, both teams will stay and play on Monday. That would mean the Sox would not have the off day on May 2nd.
You think the guys would okay that after 19 straight and 27 of 28 days?
He did not go. Watch out. Safe.
I'm not sure exactly where Brett was going, but he almost got picked off.
That decision's already been made.
So they said for sure stay. Sweeping breaking ball, he checked up his swing, and I think if Wieters doesn't point to Jerry Davis at first base, he probably guns him out at second. It's close, and Wieters pointed to first base. That allowed Brett a couple of steps to get back in.
So Showalter says no. Go ahead and play. And Austin has been battling. He's worked a full count.
Love to be able to keep it alive for Adam Eaton. You figure that it would be Mattis to face Eaton if Austin can reach base.
10th pitch coming up.
He's been all over.
Look at this. That is lovely. Tumble. Here's a throw. He's safe. And it's a 5-4 ball game. What an at bat by Austin Jackson.
Driving in his 8th run of the year, and now it's a 1-run game. Battling it back. Finally on the 10th pitch. He's able to guide it into right field. Trumbo makes it close. But the foot was on the plate before the tag. His foot bounced once, but it looked like he got it down before the tag. And they're checking again. Brett's checking to see if he wants to appeal the safe call.
It looked like Wieters missed him anyway with the swipe.
Well, his front foot bounced. It bounces there, but comes down and gets the plate before the swipe.
So they're going to review it. It is what it is.
See the foot bounce. It hits here, but then his foot hits the plate well before the tag. I'm not sure what Bucks guys were telling him, but it sure looked like his foot hit the plate. Carlos Torres in perfect position to make that call. He saw everything all the way.
Wieters with that swipe tag or attempt at it. Let's take another look.
This was on the plate right there, and Wieters hasn't even come close to tagging him. I mean, I think Buck's taking a shot in the dark, but he probably wanted to buy some time for Mattis to get ready.
All right.
There was no doubt he was safe.
Showalter out to the mound. Givens will depart. And we'll be back.
former #1 draft pick of these Orioles. On for the 3rd time. His ERA way up there, as is the opponent's batting average. They converted him to a reliever in 2012. Before that, he started just about each and every time out. Not so much the last 3 years.
Well, Laurie with that walk, the stolen base, and that stolen base pays off. 5-13 on the big 2 for them. 4-5-1 for us.
Darren O'Day now throwing in the pen, in case Mattis can't get at him.
One to count.
Look at the man that picked up a sterling inning last night.
Adam has walked, reached on an error, and going out to center.
Set him up with slow breaking balls, try to throw a fastball by him. Adam able to fight it off. Adam Jones is shading just a couple of steps into left center field. A big gap in right center.
Count hangs the ball, 2 strikes. Well over towards right center field. We'll retire the side, but we pick up 1. Brett Laurie with that walk, stolen base, run scored on the single by Jackson. 7th inning stretch, we trail it by 1.
sponsor tonight's Major League Baseball scoreboard and schedule. Dan Jennings comes into the ball game. It's a 1-run deficit. He wants to hold it right there on for the 6th time. The ERA as easy as 1.23. And its batting average 290, which is a higher total than he would like, but that's 9 hits and 7 1/3. So if he can hold this very potent Oriole lineup at bay, it'll be Wieters, Alvarez, and Hardy, assuming that Alvarez hits against the left-hander. And the Sox offense, which found some 7th-inning magic once again last inning, will have 6 more outs to go.
If you're just tuning in, 3 home runs in the ball game, 2 for them. One by Alvarez, 1 by Scope. Both those coming back in the 4th inning, and the 1 home run for us by Brett Laurie. Laurie with his home run in the 4th as well. So Wieters, switch hitting catcher, will lead it off. He's 0 for 2, a fly out to center, a strikeout, a walk. And he came around to score with that 2-out walk back in the 5th. It was a double by Alvarez. Chris Sale against Ubaldo Jimenez tomorrow afternoon, 12:30 Central Time start. And that game old Comcast Sportsnet. Gap out there in left center. Cabrera deep in left. Austin over towards Adam Eaton and right. There's a good hook for a strike. One and two.
Putnam 1 inning, 1 run on 2 hits with a walk and a strikeout. The walk was intentional.
Watch out. Hey, White Sox shout out. Hello. Bernard Young. Bernard and his crew at Atlantic Aviation who do such a wonderful job on all our charter flights throughout the course of the season. There you go.
That was a good breaking ball low and in, and Wieters goes down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight.
So here's Alvarez. Swinging nub off the end of the bat single. Then an opposite field homer. And a hard double to right. So he's 3 for 3. Five, 13 and 2 for them. 4, 5 and 1 for us. Breaking ball. And the count 2-0.
Good fastball in under his hands. Throwing a fastball on a fastball count, but putting it in a good spot.
There you got a cookie. Missed it.
Well, you don't want that breaking ball on the inside part of the plate, but that's exactly where Dan got it.
He gone. 2 down.
Went right back to the inside fastball. Good location, and he threw it by him. See where the 5 pops up. Off the plate inside. Perfect pitch.
So here's Renteria, Rick, bench coach.
And for those of you that joining us late, Robin got thrown out of this game. And Matt Albers coming into this game. But the right-handers, Hardy and Scope, due up. So as he comes in, we'll step out and be back after these messages. Bases clear, 1 out to get. Here in the 7th inning, you see 1-0. On for the 11th time. He has been on some kind of a roll. 33 straight consecutive scoreless innings over the past 30 appearances. Those 30 appearances breaking Jesse Crane's club record of 29 set in 2013.
So here's Hardy. A strikeout, a ground out, and a line out to right. Takes first pitch strike. Two down here in their half of the 7th inning. Outfield slightly to the right. Good gap out there in left center, and Cabrera well off the line and left. Boy, a bullet caught. That is a definite hang woof'em right there for JJ. Meanwhile, we're into the 8th. We need one to tie.
Kevin Gausman threw 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. Alvarez with a solo home run in the 4th. Scope with a solo home run in the 4th, and it's a 1-run deficit. Brought to you by the Honda Dream Garage Sales Event, now at your Honda dealer. And Darren O'Day comes into this on for the 11th time. He's 1-0, 1 for 1 in save opportunities. Opponent's hitting a very, very small 161. Joey Rickard checks in the game defensively in right field, and this is exactly what Buck Showalter wanted. The 8th to O'Day and the 9th to Britton, and Carlos Sanchez comes on to pinch hit for Tyler Saladino.
Tyler was 0 for 3 tonight. And that breaking ball hangs outside, so 1-0 the count to Carlos. And that's a shot down into the corner. So he's on his way to second base. Here's the throw. He's safe. Leadoff double for Sanchez.
Left-handers have a much better look at Darren O'Day than the right-handers. And Sanchez comes off the bench cold and drills a low fastball, and then outraces the arm of Rickard, who does a nice job of making it close at second base.
So here is Abreu. He's 0 for 3. Now he's got a job to do. Takes the pitch inside. It was called a strike. That's a big call right there.
That ball was way in off the plate. Carlos Torres.
He's been pretty good behind the plate tonight, but that he sure blew that one right there, and that's a bad time to blow a call.
Kind of interesting, because thinking that Abreu is going to go to right field, Scope is not paying any attention at all to Sanchez. That's left to J.J. Hardy. But because he doesn't want to vacate the left side, he'll take a step or two over toward the bag, but then he retreats to his normal position. Get a good secondary lead at second base.
Trying to go at that one in a good fashion, shove it to the right side, but underneath it. Now he's down in the count 1-2. Biggest thing right here is just making some contact.
Now with 2 strikes, you see J.J. Hardy take a couple of steps, but then he's got to retreat to his right to try to close up that hole on the left side.
Two and two. Todd Frazier on deck. Melky Cabrera in the hole. And a full count.
This Sox team has had very nice habit of scoring late. 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, this team has scored over 50% of its runs for the year in those 3.
Payoff. And that's nicely placed out there, and he's going to be waved around. So Rickard just gets it back in on the clutch single by Abreu, and this game is tied at 5.
That's RBI number 12. As Jose takes a pitch out of the strike zone, takes it into right field. A double and a single. And it's a brand new game tied at 5. Late scoring continues for the Sox. And a combination of Gausman not being able to win, Madletos not being able to lose.
Don't stop now, boys, as here is Todd. Todd's 0 for 3. He's due.
Big game tonight with Chris Sale going tomorrow.
Marginal. 0-1. Count evens. Yeah, well, this ball club is entirely different. Almost the antithesis of what we had here for the last couple.
This team doesn't believe they're ever out of the ball game.
I mean, that was one of the reasons I missed spring training. It was first spring training I missed in 56 years. I wanted to start the season off and just see what kind of an attitude this ball club is going to have. And it's just a joy to be around. The other one, a couple, no, it's not.
Now this ball club relies on a number of different guys that come through, and we've seen a whole lot of different guys coming through in key situations, not just the same guys each and every night.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Hell yes.
Seventh home run, 17 driven in, and 3 huge runs here in the 8th inning to go with the 1 driven home in the 7th. And this is a blast. O'Day gets a fastball right down the middle. And Todd Frazier puts a charge into it.
A different attitude. A different attitude. So here's Melky. Like Frazier was, he's 0 for 3, so he's due as well. That pitch is popped up. Get out of here. It will.
These are the first runs Darren O'Day has given up all year. This is his 11th appearance. He's only given up 5 hits and 8 1/3 coming in, and nary a run until the 8th.
Well, we talked about it last night. Right-handers really don't mind, even though he gets you out. They don't mind facing him.
Well, not tonight with those mistakes down the middle.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. They don't mind. You don't mind facing the guy, even though he's good. He gets you out. He's what you call a comfortable 0 for 1 or 2. Oh, and 2 the count. Yeah, well, that's what you got to do is hit mistakes. You're not going to hit deep pitches.
He missed with the breaking ball and threw a fastball and left it down the middle.
So that is out number 1.
MLB TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
So here's one of our stars tonight, Brett Laurie. 1 for 2, a homer, a walk, a stolen base, and that stolen base resulted in a run. That was last inning. Made it a 5-4 ball game.
Talking to your hitting coach about just how you did it.
Good check right there by Brett.
Todd was handled easily for 3 at-bats. Nothing left the infield. But the big at-bat cleared the fence easily in left center field.
Carlos Sanchez starts it off. That double. Well, you've heard me say it many times. Chemistry today on the ball club is more important than it's ever been.
Well, this was good chemistry instantly. For whatever reason, spring training team had never been together. From the first game, you could just see it. There was a different feeling.
He rings him up, 2 down. So here's Sands. He's 2 for 3 with a run scored. Todd Frazier is a dangerous hitter.
Certainly giving a whole lot of protection to Abreu.
Down balls hit sharply. Marty put 3 big runs across the plate, and we'll go to the bottom of the 8th, leading 7-5.
play. It was normally a sure-handed team. Not too sure-handed. Machado throws this ball away at second base. And in the very next play, Scope bobbles that one. It led to 2 runs. 2 guys who hadn't made an error all year made one back-to-back. The Speed Replay is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Jonathan Scope, 1 for 3.
Carlos Sanchez stays in the game to play shortstop, which has been his natural position.
First pitch strike. Scope, 1 out to center. Hit a high, long home run. Then he hit a rocket to Saladino, leading off the 6th inning. Gap out there in right center. Laurie back on the grass at second. Did not go, of course, with those 2 home runs, one by Laurie, the other big one by Frazier. Alex Snellius with a generous donation to White Sox charities in loving memory of Ursula.
Duke getting ready perhaps for Kim.
Three and one. No walks, man. No walks, buddy. We have 7 runs on 8 hits. They have 5 runs on 13 hits. And a full count.
Get all that deep on the left side because Albers throws ground balls and a lot of guys hit the top of the baseball and don't hit it all that hard.
The dreaded leadoff walk.
Rick Renteria, the bench coach, taking over as the manager, as Robin arguing a call that would have been a triple play, only to see it overruled in New York. Got thrown out of the game.
So here's a man who's been played 4 times in the series, 3 times tonight, and he's 4 for 4. In fact, in that Baltimore uniform. He is 9 for 14.
Hyun-Soo Kim, signed out of Korea, where he was a big run producer.
Nine years, a .318 hitter over there. Okay, take your time. Rack him up. 2 down.
And Alberts throws ground balls. That's what he's been doing since August 5th of last year. The last time he gave up a run. Good sinking fastball, and Kim, who'd been impossible to get out, grounds into a big 2.
So here's Machado. He's 2 for 4 tonight. 4 for 12 with a homer and 5 RBIs in this series.
Pleasure to see him come up with the bases empty.
35 home runs last year at the tender age of 22. Just off the corner. That's a fair ball. Look at the play. The peg. And he can't hang on to it or come up with it.
They're giving him a base hit. We'll take another look at it. Good pick. And Todd Frazier, he's in foul territory. I think Jose would probably tell you that's a play he should have come up with. I don't see how you give an error to Frazier. That ball never hit the dirt.
Well, Jose sometimes gets out there a little too quick.
That commits himself, and then he gets locked in.
Then you locked in is right. Once you make that out there a little too quick, nothing you can do then. And that hits him. So now the tying run's aboard.
Now you got to face Chris Davis with 2 on, 2 out. Hit him right on the butt. You got Duke and Jones throwing in the pen, and Renteria wants Duke. Lefty, lefty. But very dangerous. Chris Davis due up. So as Duke comes in, we'll step out and be back after these messages. In the ball game on for the 14th time. No record, 2.25 ERA, 6 holds, which is good. Opponent's hitting 241, and he's got to face one of the most dangerous left-hand hitters in baseball, Chris Davis.
Jones up down in our bullpen.
We told you about David Robertson on a bereavement leave. That's a minimum of 3 days, which will be up tomorrow. We'll have to see if David comes back or if he waits. And some Sox fans a little nervous.
All right. Sox lead at 7-5, 2 on, 2 out, and this man takes first pitch strike. Davis last year, 47 homers, 117 knocked in.
There's the pitch. That's a pitch you throw to Chris Davis. The high fastball, uppercut swing, you can't get it up there. You see the classic home run hitter's uppercut swing.
You got to go underneath his hands. Just maybe just a touch higher underneath his hands. That's okay. That's a show me pitch. 1-2.
We're against Zach. One hit to home run.
Two and two. Ground ball, stay fair. It hits the seam of the grass and kicks it foul. They're going to get it back in quick. They got a shot. They got to know the throw is off the mark, and the game is tied.
I have a hard time understanding
Low.
why you don't go to the high fastball.
You know, it's just amazing. You know what he wants, and you know what he can't handle. Game tied at 7.
RBI 16 and 17. Chris Davis crushes the ball down. He got one down, he crushed it. Renteria comes out. Duke leaves. Nate Jones comes in a tie game. We'll step out and be back after these messages. Twelfth time, the ERA .84. He inherits Davis at second base, representing the go-ahead run. Matt Alber's scoreless streak is by the boards. The runs are unearned, but runs nonetheless. And the Orioles, who fell behind in the 8th, come back to tie it in the 8th.
So here's Rickard.
He came on to play defensively for Trumbo in right field. And now he takes over the 4 spot in the batting order.
Boy, we have given them some runs in this series.
Yeah, very generous defensively.
2 this inning. Gave him 3 last night, lost the game 6-3. Gave him 2 tonight, and we're tied at 7. Oh, and 2 the count. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. I'm thinking about Joey Rickard off Nate Jones. He's after him.
He's not giving any ground.
He is after him.
Rickard realizing that as a Rule 5 player, he's got to be kept up here all year, or he's got to be offered back to Tampa Bay. So far, he hasn't done anything wrong.
Well, he beat Tampa Bay with a 3-run homer on Wednesday.
Well, he's got an opportunity, and sometimes that's all it takes. And so far, he's made the most of it. And he comes into this game hitting .283 with a couple of homers and 7 driven in, and leading all of baseball with infield hits.
Also, he's been all over the 97-mile-an-hour fastball twice. And that's in the right field, but we make an error and a bad pitch to Chris Davis, and we'll go to the 9th tied at 7.
comes in the ball game for Buck Showalter. He's trying to buy an inning. Winning the closer in a non-save situation. ERA 1.93. A lot like Albers. Britton throws ground balls. It's pretty much what he does for a living, and he's been very good at it since the conversion from a starting pitcher to a supreme closer.
Here's Navarro. He's 1 for 3. Jackson on deck and Adam Eaton in the hole. $29,152. First decent night of this we've had in this series. 0-2.
You get up there 95 sinking, and that's the reason last year he was an all-star. 36 saves. The year before, 35 saves. There is a tremendous amount of sink on this one. That was at 96. Last 2 years. 1.55 ERA, 1.92 ERA. And this year another ERA in the ones.
Austin has struck out, grounded to third, and has an RBI single. A terrific at bat back in the 7th inning. Oh, 1-2. Big 2-run double by Chris Davis. 2 out, 2-run double. It's tied it up for Baltimore. But both those runs, if you're just tuning in, are unearned. Big error. Pitch. Two out.
This one has a whole plate. Even though Wieters' closet catches it and doesn't frame it real well, doesn't have to.
For them, Wieters, Alvarez, and J.J. Hardy, the scheduled hitters. There's Bunt, get by him. It will. It will. So it'll be a base hit.
Well executed, because Britton had to follow it a long time before he could come up with it. And Adam hustling down the line. Really difficult to flip it with the glove and any accuracy at all, as this ball well away from Davis, but Adam cannot advance. It looks like he might have turned his ankle trying to get to that. And for the Orioles right now, they're holding their breath.
Well, there's a play right there that Adam, against, especially against tough left-handers, if he can get that down to where he can be successful just 3 out of 10 times.
Yeah, that's especially against this left-hander. That's a terrific play, as Richie Bancells, longtime trainer here, comes out to take a look. Right there, it looked like his right foot, the ankle turned, he comes up limping.
All right, so Britton will depart. And whoever comes on will have all the time they need to get loose, and we'll be back.
No, he's been a combination reliever and starter. He started a couple of games. His ERA 3.86. So he's relieved 2, started 2. And he inherits the go-ahead run at first base. He makes a big effort to try to get this ball to first base with a backhand flip of the glove. And right there, it looks like the left leg, not the right, might have turned. Whatever it was, serious enough for him to come out of the ball game. And if he's lost for any length of time, as good as he's been over the last couple of years, that's going to complicate things for the Orioles. But first things first, Carlos Sanchez will have the first look at Vance Worley.
So here's a man that started us off that 3-run 8th with a double. Outfield straight up, spread out about equidistant. Abreu on deck. Good speed at first.
Rickard very deep in right. Jones equally so in center field.
That's way high, so the count 1-0 to Carlos. Carlos down at Charlotte before calling up. He's hitting at .309, 4 doubles, 3 homers, 9 RBIs. Count evens at 1. Third of this 4-game set. Once again, a reminder tomorrow. Chris Sale against Ubaldo Jimenez. And that game will be over. Comcast Sports Net, 12:30 Central start. Watch it.
Worley last year was with Pittsburgh. We started 8 games out of the 23 he worked. His ERA was up over 4.
Well, you got a good arm in right field. You got a good arm in center field. A lot of speed in right, a lot of speed in center. Count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes to Sanchez. Seven, 14 and 2 for them. 7, 9 and 2 for us. Nice little fake by Eaton.
That was a pretty good pitch. And I think the fact that Wieters got up might have cost him a strike. That ball had the whole plate.
So the payoff. And that's ball 4. Here comes Abreu. Jose had a good at bat last inning. Picking up an RBI. And there's a base hit. Here he comes. He's being waved around. Rickert with a little double clutch right there. He'll score. The Sox lead it 8-7. Yes. That bunt single by Adam Eaton.
Second hit in as many innings, both to right field, and this one, by the time it got to Rickert, it was a very wet baseball. So he had a hard time. Normally a better arm than this. He made it close, but Adam Eaton outran the throw. Here comes Eaton. Here comes the baseball. See right there, the wet ball probably caused him to juggle it. It came in on 3 hops and no chance at the plate.
And here's Todd. Sanchez at third.
And this is what gave the Sox the lead. 7th home run of the year. A very happy Todd Frazier. Sox relinquished the lead only to grab it back in the 9th. They scored in the 7th, 8th, and 9th tonight. That run charged to Britton in absentia.
I love the bunt.
Against a tough left-hander, left-hand hitter, perfect play.
No question about it. I love that play. My pitch is upstairs. Turn him loose right here. 3-0 the count.
Big bunt, big hustle by Adam Eaton.
And that'll load him up.
Dave Wallace is going to come trotting out from the dugout. Worley does not have a big fastball, and all those pitches were up and out of the zone. So Melky will have an opportunity to put a little more daylight between the Sox and the Orioles. Orioles have only lost one game at home this year.
Melky's due. He's 0 for 4. 1 for 12 in the series. Looking for it, got it. Couldn't do anything with it.
That was rifled into the Sox dugout. Let's hope everybody's okay. I mean, that one didn't miss a whole lot of folks by much.
0-2 the count. Ground ball, second base. But the big base hit by Jose Abreu. And we'll go to the bottom of the 9th, leading 8-7. Sox lead at 8-7. Matt Wieters, Pedro Alvarez, and J.J. Hardy to face Nate Jones. Wieters is 0 for 3, but he walked back in the 5th inning and scored. 0-1 the count.
They got the final out in the 8th inning, inducing Rickard to fly out to right field with Davis at second base. So he is the pitcher of record.
Austin Jackson deep, shaded towards left. That ball hit hard in the right, but we got a man there. A nice recovery. Got tangled up just a little bit going back. And a big out.
It looked like that wet grass might have gotten him, but Adam Eaton was able to get back and haul it in. This ball is hit harder than it looks. Eaton takes a couple of steps in, and the wet grass might have gotten him. Goes up. A huge first out as that one almost escapes the glove.
Boy, he has played some right field.
Unbelievable. Probably the best in baseball.
Here's Alvarez, 3 for 4 tonight. Soft infield single, opposite field home run, and a hard double. That's high. Melky. Yes. 2 down.
That's a very dangerous hitter on a soft pop up to left field.
So here is Hardy. He's 0 for 4 tonight, but he has hit it hard 3 times, exceptionally hard twice. First pitch strike. One at 96.
They try to win his 2nd game of the year.
1-1. Jonathan Scope on deck. Outfield extremely deep now, especially Jackson in center.
He can't get any deeper and stay in the park.
Adams fouled away, and the count now 1-2. So 2 out, 1-2 the count here in the bottom of the 9th. Good guys on top by 1. And that is Souvenir right side.
He's been going at him with fastballs. One hard slider. Blown away, and
absent bench.
That's going to be it. Bye-bye, Wigo. Tried it, missed with it. Jimmy Rollins, who has not seen any action tonight.
Two. Yes, he did. Got a piece of it. Just got a piece of it.
It was another hard slider, and he's very fortunate to have life in his at bat. Perfect pitch, just barely got a piece.
And this ball game is over. So the Sox just don't quit. Scoring 3 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, coming back to win it 8-7. And this, in many respects, after the Sox losing 2 in a row, coming in here, a huge ball game.
Well, terrific, and they did it tonight as they've been doing it all year. They scored the 1 in the 7th. That's how they usually start things off. And then you talked about the 3 in the 8th and the 1 big one in the 9th. And Nate Jones made it hold up. Jose Abreu with 2 huge hits to right field, and a big win with Chris Sale going tomorrow.
You know, the thing is that it just seems like this club has already come back more here in the month of April than they did all of last year.
There's no doubt. And this ties the all-time Sox record for wins in April with 17.
All right, we'll be back.